Hull against Leeds on a really hot and humid afternoon at the KC Stadium. Hull with Leeds, they won their first 5 matches of 2009. They jointly headed the table on the 15th of March. The two teams have gone in different directions since. Leeds are looking to finish inside the top 2 for a 7th consecutive season. Hull could miss out on the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row if they are not careful. Let's confirm the team lineup for you then, and Hull have got Richard Horne at full-back, then they go Rayner, Graham Horne, Yeaman and Jody Broughton, who's on loan from the Rhinos. Chris Thorman's restored to the team alongside Sean Berrigan. The forwards, Paul King, Thomas Lee, Jamie Thackeray, Willie Manu, Danny Tickle and Lee Radford, who is the captain. And on the bench, it's Whiting, Houghton, Burnett and Moa, and the coach is Richard Agar. For the champions, Lee Smith deputises at full-back for Brent Webb. Then they go Donald, Ashley Gibson, Senior and Hall. Kevin Sinfield is the skipper and he is deputising for the injured Danny Maguire. Rob Burrow is the scrum half. And up front, it's Kylie Luluai, Badiris and Peacock, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Simon Worrell second row, and Carl Ablett, who's the loose forward. And the bench is occupied by Lauatiti, Diskin, Burgess and young Mike Ratu. Apparently there's a big Fijian party taking place in Rochdale, plus the Fijian community in London is watching very closely this afternoon, and would you believe, thousands of miles away in the Pacific in Suva. So it is a massive day for the Ratu family and for young Michael in particular, and for these Leeds Rhinos fans. They cut Hull apart 5 weeks ago. They won 46-16. It was Keith Senior's 300th appearance for Leeds. He got 2 tries. And Brian McLennan has named him today in his lineup as he makes his 500th career game. It is a remarkable record for Keith Senior. Hull lost at Warrington last Sunday. A few hours later, Wigan won at Hull Kingston Rovers, so they dropped out of the top 8. This, though, one of the most intense rivalries in Super League. And the rivalry intensified still further this week with comments from the former Leeds prop Jamie Thackeray that were far from complimentary about Brian McLennan, if they were true. But apparently Thackeray has rung up McLennan and has made his peace with him. And when Brian McLennan was asked about the whole affair, he said, well, we'll just shake hands, we'll get on with the game. The game is bigger than both of us, and that is absolutely admirable from the Leeds Rhinos coach. It's a hot and humid day here in East Yorkshire. And as we peep over the stand, Steve-O, there are the men in all whites. They're playing cricket on the far side, but it's not cricket here today. There's no pads, there's no bails, there's no wickets. It's full-on Super League.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a real heavy contest, especially up in the forward. You've already made the point in regards to Jamie Thackeray, whether he's apologised or not to Brian McLennan. As I mentioned earlier, the Leeds coach would have said to his players that there's only one way to keep a man's mouth shut, and that is to keep scoring tries against him. And they are very, very light up front, the Hull outfit. You look through Kylie Luluai, Jamie Peacock, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Ali Lauatiti. You know, these are big, big players, and you've also got Luke Burgess on the bench. So you'd have to say that the Rhinos would have to come here pretty full of confidence.
There's the men in whites. There they are, just behind the trees and over the other side of the ground. We're still awaiting the arrival of the players. Leeds still in the dressing room, as you can see. They've rattled up 30 points or more in 4 of the last 5 games, and they've won 3 in a row and 6 of their last 7.
And the problem for the men in black and white is the start that Leeds make to games. This season they've been fantastic. In the first 10 minutes they're blowing their opponents away. They were very impressive last week against Bradford in the opening 10 minutes, and no doubt they will start at that same pace and intensity again here tonight. Hull have to be ready from the kick-off.
It's a nice touch, I think, from Brian McLennan and the Leeds Rhinos. It looks like Keith Senior will lead the team onto the field on this, his 500th career game. And just a reminder also, his next try will be try number 230.
It's a wonderful achievement, isn't it? 500 games in the toughest sport in the world, and it is a great credit. There he leads them out. Leeds, of course, they'll realise that the black and whites, they just love to get one over the men from West Yorkshire. But what a night for this fella.
You know, since 2003, when Hull moved into this ground, Leeds have won 6 of 8 visits. It's a real contrast to the years when they were running round the old Boulevard ground just on the other side of town. They always seemed to cause the Leeds Rhinos problems. But their only win since they beat Castleford at Murrayfield came here against Salford 2 weeks ago. That was their first home win since February the 27th. Richard Agar has been absolutely decimated with his plans because of visa problems, because of injuries. About the future, he says there are this 17 he's got tonight and maybe a couple more, and that's it. But they will keep going and they will keep having a bash at getting into the top 8. And with this support behind them, anything's possible.
What we saw last night, didn't we? The result, a shock result by Salford over St. Helens. So you're right, they'll be up for it with the black and whites. They realise it. Richard Agar will have had them fine-tuned. He's obviously going to be looking towards the fact there's Jamie Thackeray. He'll get a lot of attention early on from the likes of Lulawai and Peacock. And Jamie Jones-Buchanan, this will be explosive. Let's hope that the man in the middle, Ian Smith, is up to it. He normally is. Let's hope he gives them plenty of space. There's so much talent out there, but a lot depends on the half-back pairing for Hull of Chris Thorman and Sean Berrigan. Can they match Sinfield and Burrow? I doubt it.
Leeds Rhinos, the most penalised team in Super League right now. 148 blown against them in 18 rounds. Hull only 84, the fewest in Super League. We shall see as Sinfield gets this game underway. A deep kick-off right to the goal line. Gareth Rayner, former Leeds old boy, will drive it forward 10 metres before he is met by Simon Worrell, by Jamie Peacock and Kylie Lulawai. And there is the first touch of the game for Jamie Thackeray. Thomas Lee waiting, I beg your pardon, it is not Jamie Thackeray, it's Danny Tickle. We're a long way away from the action here. This is Lee Radford now, though. And he gets a great offload away to Sean Berrigan. And Berrigan will come forward. There is Thackeray. And he's halted by Carl Ablett and Sinfield. He goes down eventually on the third tackle. Now Paul King will drive it forward again for the black and whites. Big ask tonight for Thackeray and King. I'm sure that Richard Agar will mix and match the pack and will mix and match the forwards. But there are only the two recognised props, Thackeray and King. Moa, I think, can also play at prop forward, the Tongan international. But it's a big ask for the whole pack tonight.
Good pressure there on the half-back. Sean Berrigan didn't get a good kick away. So one thing that Leeds are very strong at, getting towards a man doing the kick on the last tackle.
Eddie, I know that was the first time that Hull have kicked the ball and they've kicked for a bit of safety really deep to the corner. I think they need to take more risks, though, with the kicks on last place, particularly if they're up on the halfway line. They're going to have to score, I think, a minimum of 20 points to give Hull a Leeds a real game here tonight. And the try-scoring hasn't been the strongest part of the game this year.
Anabadiras to Kevin Sinfield. He looks right and finds Lulawai. That's a good hit. And Richard Agar watching on from the stands here as Burrow gets the kick away. And that will skip just in front of Jody Broughton. The man who is on loan from the Leeds Rhinos. This is a big day for him as well, of course. He's in great form. Second spell on loan here. He was here last season as well. Broughton plays the ball. That's Chris Thorman. And here now is Kirk Yeaman. And Yeaman, he's ever present in the Hull side so far. And he is a man on top form as well, according to his coach, Richard Agar. It's Rayner for Hull. He is brought to ground by 3 Leeds players. Thomas Lee waits at dummy half. The runner was Thackeray. It was given to him by Lee Radford. Lee waits again at dummy half. Just still inside their own half of the field. Good offload. Switches the direction of play, but Manu Donald was on him in a flash.
Good work by the winner, Donald, there. Realising that he was a short pass, came in, got him on the angle.
Thorman here, the kick. It's a high hanging kick as well. Ablett is underneath it. Broughton is underneath it. Broughton was inside the 10. He was called on by Ian Smith to stay away from the action. He didn't heed the call, and Leeds have the penalty.
That's the biggest problem you have in regards to having a big crowd here. And the whole side, they were really overshadowed there by the official. Ian Smith was shouting for the youngster to get behind. Just couldn't hear it. That is a big problem here at this stadium.
Really poor play, I think, from Jody Broughton, Eddie. To not have the discipline to look where the kicker is and work out whether you're in front of him or not. It's the type of play that Hull need to try if they're to get possession back and come up with give Leeds a real game.
This is Rob Burrow, typical run of his. That looked a little forward, I must say. This is Ryan Hall, who is Super League's top try scorer.
A little forward, it was a mile forward. They've got away with it there.
Medeiros gives it to Burrow again, and he is scrapped to the floor by Berrigan, and unfairly, says Ian Smith, it's a penalty to Leeds.
Well, there's a big smash and grab, wasn't to start with, nothing wrong with the first one. I think you might have found that Rob Burrow got a Academy Award for that one, threw himself to the ground, got the penalty.
Here's Jamie Peacock now. Hull are under pressure at 4.5 minutes of the match.
Keep your eye on Lulawai.
They found Smith, they found Senior, they found Hall, who finds the first 4 points of the game. It just gets better and better for Ryan Hall. 18th try of the season for Ryan Hall, Super League's top scorer, an England international 2 years after his Super League debut at the Millennium Magic weekend, a try on his England debut in Paris last month. Ryan Hall is on fire. He's only 21 years of age. He's the top try scorer in the game, and he is number 18.
Well, this is what I feel is a forward pass. Certainly looks it from that angle. But take nothing away from it. Looks as though they're going to go on the open side. Lee Smith linked in from the full-back position. Senior, 500th game, the provider yet again. And how many times has he done this? Bang. Ooh, just squeezed, didn't he? Notice how he just lifted the foot away from the whitewash out wide. It's a tremendous season for this fella, Ryan Hall.
You get the feeling that Ryan Hall could be anything in this game if he wanted to be. Sinfield to add the extras, which he does from out on the far side. The try from Ryan Hall, created by Keith Senior. He has produced try-scoring passes now on 8 occasions this season, Keith Senior.
Well, they are the game's top try scorers, Eddie, in the first 10 minutes of matches. They start the matches particularly well. Here, does the foot hit the line? Well, it's close. It's about as close as Will Sharp's last night. But Leeds have got this one. And Hull need to recover, and recover quickly here now.
Well, it wasn't handed upstairs to the video referee. The touch judge on that far side, the referee Ian Smith, convinced that the try was legal. But Barry McDermott, what about this young man, Ryan Hall, on the wing? Fantastic, isn't he?
He's always going to be a good player playing outside the man in your screen there, Keith Senior, who's been the provider for many wingers for Leeds over the year. But Ryan Hall learning his trade, getting better each and every game, and with 18 tries, his results are there to see. Just a word on the black armbands that Leeds are wearing tonight. A young man who spent some time in the academy, Andrew Kerwell, sadly passed away last weekend, and they're paying tribute to him. So our thoughts and best wishes from the club go to his family.
Absolutely, well said, Barry. Meanwhile, you've just watched a fantastic kick from Kevin Sinfield that is a 40-20 and will give Leeds head and feed at this scrum here. Kevin Sinfield is another one on top of his game. He really is. Kevin Sinfield stunned, I think, that he was left out of the World Cup semi-final down under in Australia back end of last year. It has come back into Super League this year, 2009, and has been absolutely magnificent for Leeds this year. He has led from the front. A real captain's knock you get from him each and every week. And here he is now, operating at standoff, of course, tonight. He finds Senior. Senior gets the ball away at the back door to Sinfield. Ryan Hall, 19 for the season, Ryan Hall. Unstoppable down that left wing. Fantastic try again from Leeds. The 40-20 from Kevin Sinfield produced the opportunity. And Ryan Hall, well, he just is scoring tries for fun. Big smile on his face, Ryan Hall, as he shakes hands with his other winger, that's Scott Donald. And Ryan Hall tremendous try again, and showing such strength to get through the defenders.
All came about by the superb 40-20 by Sinfield. You made the point, Eddie, in regards that Sinfield can slot in to the standoff position. You'd think without Danny Maguire that Leeds would suffer, but they don't. And what about the pass from Senior? Experience said it all, and the man who started it finished with a final pass to send in Mr. Hall for try number 2 of this game. This is superb. Beautiful finish. The build-up, outstanding.
Ryan Hall scored 2 tries in the opening 9 minutes last week against the Bradford Bulls at Headingley to establish the possibility of victory. And Sinfield has added another 2 points. And Leeds, they are ahead by 12 points to 0.
Very similar field to last week. I'd love to see Leeds attacking from scrums, and they are one of the sides who are prepared to take a chance. Keith Senior's strength out there. Now, the thing that got Bradford back into the game last week, Eddie, was an individual effort by Semi Tajulala. Bradford were looking low in energy. Here's the attack from the scrum. They give it to Keith Senior, a difficult man to stop. If you stop him, it's even harder to stop the ball, and Senior put it in the arms of Ryan Hall. Somebody in the black and white jersey has to come up with something extra special here to inspire them and their team and their supporters that there's still hope left in this match.
Barry, do you think the Leeds Rhinos are inspired, if that be the right word, by the fact that the Salford City Reds beat St Helens last night?
It's difficult to say, innit, Eddie? I think, knowing the Rhinos as I do, I think they'll just be concentrating on the things that they're in control of, not the things that Saints are in control of. And I think the difficulty for Hull today is the bench, and they've got 2 big men on the field today, in King and Thackeray, who aren't 80-minute players, as Hull get the ball back here.
They do. They put Kevin Sinfield under intense pressure then. They got the ball back, and the crowd suddenly lift, because here is Thomas Lee. Now it's Lee Radford. He's collared by Peacock, and Peacock smuggles the ball away to Lee again. Lee on a good run. First time that Hull have threatened the line in 10.5 minutes, and Thorman is weighing up his options each way. Gives it to Willie Manu, and Manu will go down, Willie, just a couple of metres short of the line. Yes, he does. 2 tackles gone. They've got bags in the bank here of the black and whites. It's with Paul King. King to Thorman. Thorman then to Berrigan. Berrigan on back on the inside to Richard Horn.
Just came a little bit too early to Richard Horn. Could have done with about a metre behind. Come on to the football, but
Berrigan! Berrigan! Wonderful try from Berrigan. Great second effort from Sean Berrigan. The only time that Richard Agard's men have threatened the Leeds line and they come up with a score. Berrigan with the 4th try of his campaign. He was scrum half at Warrington also last week. And Sean Berrigan's try, well, that has just tilted the balance a bit more towards the black and whites. They're still behind on the scoreboard, but their first foray into Leeds territory, and they get the reward.
Well, there's a hero a few seconds before this, but Sinfield loses possession, and the black and whites get it through. And this is a tremendous run there from Berrigan. That's the difference between coming onto the football studs flat, and he wasn't. He had the pace and the power. Nothing that Lee Smith could do about that. And the Hull FC fans, they appreciate it as well.
Sean Berrigan was the man of the match in the 2006 NRL Grand Final for Brisbane against Melbourne. And that was a terrific contribution to this match. Because at that point, Hull were in danger of being swamped by the champions. But the try and Tickle to improve it here will get the crowd back on their side. First time that they threaten the Leeds line, and they have got the reward. Tickle then to add the extras. It's academic. Hull 6, Leeds 12.
Coming on at speed and coming on the angle, and you'll see that Leeds are a little bit too slow to fill in. Simon Worrell very slow indeed there to get to him. They went too high in Lee Smith, and Berrigan gets the home side back into this match. Game on.
Very much so, and just a word about Danny Tickle, who slotted over the conversion. He is now the only man in Super League, and his record continues, the only man in Super League to have played and scored in each of his team's games. Well, they've come up with a mistake.
Jamie Thackeray had the ball, he felt stolen, but it came clear. The referee worked play on, and Leeds immediately on attack.
Yes, they're immediately trying to respond to conceding that first try. And there is a short ball to Luluwai. Hull being called to stand up big in defence now here. This is Burrow and Ablett. And Ablett is watched by 3. He goes down in the challenge. Badiras is the man scheming at dummy half now. Badiras trying to do exactly what Berrigan did a few moments ago. Fantastically, we've got Berrigan and Badiras on show here tonight. 2 of the best number 9s you can find. Of course, Berrigan playing at scrum half. Here is Sinfield. Here is Senior. 500th appearance and a try for Keith Senior to celebrate his 230th of his career. Hull thought they were back in it. They were for a minute or 2. And Keith Senior marks this remarkable milestone for him with his 230th try on this, his 500th career game. The grand old man of Super League. He's not the oldest, but he is the most durable and without doubt the most consistent in this competition.
Just shows you come up with an error. Leeds did exactly that. Berrigan scores and Thackeray loses the football here. Was it taken out? Perhaps it was, according to Thackeray. Either way, it was play on by the man with the whistle, Ian Smith. And the pass was superb. Came on the angle, went far too high. You're always going to be caught out there. Graham Horn really should have had a better job of this. Just catches himself. Look how he waits. He should have gone earlier. Senior knew it.
Well, Keith Senior played on the very first night of Super League in Paris, 1996, for, say, Sheffield Eagles against Paris Saint-Germain. Ended up on the losing side that night. Here he is on his 500th appearance of his career, and leads his team now winning 18-6.
They can see Graham Horn. He's just gone a little bit too early. Then he decides to go out wide, and by the time that's there, he's through.
Whole crowd on the back of the referee Ian Smith as Senior just watches his 230th try on the big screen. They believe, I think, the black and white crowd that perhaps they've been badly done to a couple of occasions already in this match. We're only just over 15 minutes gone. Luluwai with the drive forward, and that's a tackle from Lee Radford. Here's Senior, watching him closely now. Peacock, Jamie Peacock, he goes down in the challenge, and they turn him over on his back as well, trying to slow the play, the ball down, the black and whites. This is Ablett. Oh, a little half break from Ablett. He's got support there from Berrigan. Important tackle it was. It was Badiras, I beg your pardon. It was an important tackle. Oh, and that's a brilliant piece of play. And they come wide here to Ashley Gibson. Gibson gets it away to Scott Donald. Broughton is after him and wrestles him to the ground. Badiras, Sinfield under pressure, hoists the kick out wide, looking for Ryan Hall. Finds Ryan Hall. Rayner found Hall, though. That'll be the turnover.
The odds were on Gareth Rayner. Didn't even bother to wait and try to take that ball, because he could have been the one taking over the whitewash. Made sure he didn't jump at the man in the air. Perfect timing by Rayner.
This is Graham Horn now for the black and whites.
Hull really need to have something down the middle. They've got to have a little bit of few breaks. They're just doing this short pass, and you can see that really from the dummy half position, they're not taking a couple of steps. They're not trying to attract the Leeds defence first. See how it's just been passed. It's okay if you're doing it at speed, but Hull, they're not doing it.
Danny Tickle is underneath all of that. That was Thorman. This is Berrigan. He gets it away to Graham Horn, and Leeds are there in numbers to halt any threat down that right-hand side. That's the last tackle. Wait for the kick here. It's Berrigan again, who hoists it high. Radford is chasing this. Lee Smith is after it as well. That bounces, and it's back to 0 in the tackle count. Oh, I don't think he had the call.
I'm sure he didn't. Well, there's no luck, no rub of the green for the home side so far. Lee Smith made a real mess of it.
Willie Manu did not either hear the call or he doesn't know the rules.
Either way, he just panicked, tried to get the ball away. It's not easy to think on your feet. The atmosphere here is outstanding.
First change made by Richard Agar. Penalty to the Rhinos. Holding down to play the ball. Sam Moore is just on the field. And Sam Moore has just conceded his first penalty. Barry, Leeds dominant, aren't they?
They are, and the point I was going to make about the bench is Hull yesterday announced the arrival of Mark O'Meally, a front rower who will add a lot of punch and a lot of fight to this pack, but unfortunately for today they're going to have to rely on Sam Moore, Paul King and Jamie Thackeray to look after that middle section. Richard Agar's going to have to be spot on with his interchanges.
Donald gets the next try for Leeds. What a pass from Ashley Gibson. They went from one side of the field to the other then, the Leeds Rhinos, and Scott Donald, well, he's going to try in each of his last 2 games. He's got 75 tries now. This is his 116th appearance. They score out wide, don't they? Must be fantastic to be a winger in this Leeds Rhinos team. Ryan Hall on one side, Scott Donald on the other, but the pass from Ashley Gibson, sub last week, and indeed in 3 of the last 4, Gibson's had to fight his way back into the Leeds Rhinos side after injury, but just watch the pass here, the last pass from Gibson.
Beautiful stuff from Badiris as well, and watch how they come from deep. Come onto the ball. How many times do we see wingers overrun it? Not Scott Donald. He knew exactly what was happening, came at the right time. Gibson's pass was superb. They're on fire. The Rhinos are going to be difficult to stop. They're all grouped behind the in-goal area there, the black and whites. They know they're in trouble. Can he add the extras?
Well, he's kicked 3 from 3 from the far side, and he's now kicked 4 from 4, 1 from this side. 24 points to 6. Hull are finding it very difficult to live with the champions.
It's a great backline shot, isn't it? Badiris sets it up, he ties in so many of the defenders with that little run, and then Gibson just puts it, well, virtually on a plate for Scott Donald to score in the corner. 2 on the left, 1 on the right.
26 tries from Scott Donald last year. That was his personal best ever return. He extended his contract at Headingley in May. He's going to be around for a wee bit longer yet, and I think the champions are going to be around for a wee bit longer yet. No team has ever won 3 titles in a row in the Super League era. And I know that St Helens supporters will be saying, well, look who's top of the table at the moment, and it is, of course, St Helens, but Leeds, they remain their biggest challenge.
Well, they seem to have the knack, haven't they, over the last 2 seasons at just coming to top form at the right moment. As Brian Noble mentioned last night, it's not how you start, it's how you finish this season, and I must say Brian McLennan has done a fine job. It wasn't an easy step to go into the shoes of Tony Smith.
He's gone for another 40-20 here, Kevin Sinfield. Just didn't quite get the angle right, but it's not a bad kick just the same, and the chase is outstanding. Richard Horne sees a white wall ahead of him, and he only gets, but he doesn't even get to the 10-metre line. He's being pushed back towards his own posts.
There were 8 players in that chase.
Led by the kicker.
Well, he came up with the error that allowed Berrigan to give the home side some sort of hope, but Kevin Sinfield is relishing the opportunity yet again, as he has done so often in the past, to slot into the standoff position and just control this game. A relieving penalty.
The first for Hull. Offside at the play the ball down to Rod on the sideline.
Much has been made of the fact that Hull only had 2 props today for this game against the Rhinos. They may be down to 1 because Jamie Thackeray's just emerged from the dressing room with ice all over the back of his hamstring. He looks like he's tweaked it for certain. He's getting a lot of medical attention at the moment. He could be struggling for the rest of this match.
Well, that would be an even bigger blow for Hull. Thomas Lee, meanwhile, finds Thorman. Thorman then finds Radford. He's cut down by a fantastic challenge from Lulawai. Quick play of the ball, though. And this is Danny Tickle. Thomas Lee at dummy half. Berrigan attacking the line. Thorman takes the return. Berrigan then finds Richard Horne. Brilliant play from Hull this time. Back it comes to Manu! Referee wants the video referee Ben Thaler to have a look, but Willie Manu, on his 70th Hull appearance, believes that he has scored for the Black and Whites.
So do I. It was good work. I think you'll find it's Sam Moa that goes for the desperation pass here. Running for the line. Is there obstruction? That's what they're going to be looking for. I don't think there's anything there. I think it's way off it. I don't think, in my opinion, that Kevin Sinfield would have been involved in anything of it.
I think they're looking at Paul King, Steve-o, number 19 here, does he?
Yeah, runs into Sinfield.
Straight into Sinfield.
Well, it's going to be a big decision for the video referee, Ben Thaler. We normally have the start of the season, you'll guarantee that the video referee will say no try.
Paul King's eyes are actually looking at the ball, Eddie, in defence for him.
Let's see what Ben Thaler says. They haven't checked the grounding, and the try is chalked off.
I'm not sure about that. I think that was a good play. Obviously, Kevin Sinfield is unable to make that pass. He's unable to make that tackle. Throws his arms up. But you're talking about what Hull have to do and the extraordinary things they're going to have to do. They're going to have to offload this ball. Leeds have got away 7 offloads in the opening 23 minutes. Hull have just got 1 away. And that would have been the second.
That's a great escape, isn't it? That is a great escape for Leeds.
You're right, because I would have given that. I don't think that Kevin Sinfield would have got anywhere near the man who offloaded the ball, which was Sam Moa. It was a desperation pass, but it was positive enough. And they're very fortunate, the Rhinos. They still hold that commanding lead.
It's whether in a game, on situations like that, whether a team puts their head down and thinks this is just not going to be our day, or it rises to the challenge and gets back to the immediate things in front of them.
Well, look who's out on the field now for the Leeds Rhinos, Ali Lauatiti, and he plays the ball there to Badiris. Here is Keith Senior. And Senior's such a handful to put down, even at 33. 10 metres shy of the line on the last tackle here. It's with Sinfield off the outside of the boot. He finds Gibson. Gibson's wrapped up by Yeaman, but he gets the ball away to Burgess. Burgess then will find Donald. That was played at by the Leeds winger Broughton. I think he might have got this wrong.
He said not play that. That was the referee's opinion, Eddie.
Well, Broughton, I think you have a look at this. The whole winger, I think, has a little play at this. On loan from the Leeds Rhinos. Now watch his feet. He's played at that.
Do you think they moved?
He certainly had a second go.
It's
anyway,
it's a 50-50 and they've got the possession, but it's going to be difficult to get out.
Hull will be delighted about that.
They certainly will, because but it's not going to be easy to get anywhere near the halfway line. They just have had no field position. Not much possession either in the Leeds territory.
Well, they've been up there twice, Steve-o. They've had 1 try scored, they've had 1 chalked off. They've only been there twice in 25.5 minutes. So it's there for them, isn't it? You know, they know the way to the line.
They've got the quality, and I give full credit to their coach, Richard Agar. You know, he could just say, let's try to just close this game down, but he realised that we've seen so often, 4 or 5 times, that they've risked the offload, and they've done it again, and it's gone against them.
Yes, Willie Manu tried to get that ball away on the ground. Gibson dropped on it. Leeds have it back, and deep in Hull territory here.
Pretty basic from the Rhinos as well. They'll utilise the big forwards, just suck in the Hull defence, and we've seen so far in this game that they've got them out wide. They've got the speed and they've got the strength.
And they've got Ali Lauatiti on the ball at the moment. He steps through 1 challenge, can't get through the second. Badiris scampers in at dummy half again. Finds Rob Burrow. He took that round his ears, didn't he, Burrow? And he ducked away from the challenge from Paul King. Here's Badiris. Now it's with Peacock. Peacock then back to the hooker. He finds Kevin Sinfield. Sinfield long pass to Gibson. Gibson! Oh! It's a turnover.
It was a good effort.
2 feet.
It was a very good effort.
It was a good defensive effort as well. Flying tackle.
Dive in. Go.
He's in top form, isn't he? Ashley Gibson.
This is big Sam Moa. He's missed the last 4 matches. And his last appearance was also as a sub against Leeds 5 weeks ago. Lauatiti, though, all over Tickle. Oh, don't tell me Danny Tickle's picked up a knock.
He went in awkward, he was spun round in that tackle. But it's so important now on these final two play the balls that they get them in a position so they can utilise the kicking game.
Foreman, back on the inside it goes to Radford. 40 metres away from the Leeds goal line, Hull on the last tackle. Foreman with the kick, slides it down the line, looking for Jody Broughton, but the ball just skipped its way over the line.
Not a bad option as well. As I say, they have had few opportunities, so let's put it down there. Let's hope that they can force the error from Leeds. They've got to make sure that their defensive pattern is pretty solid.
Foreman taken out of the heat by Richard Agar last week. Remember when Foreman played at Headingley 5 weeks ago, he was taken off at half-time. We didn't see him again. He's had a torrid time of it recently.
He's one of those players, and we've seen it throughout the years, that when he's on song, he's pretty difficult to stop. But when he has a bad one, he can turn out to be a shocker.
Ryan Hall will play it here. Lee Smith. Went round the first marker, but couldn't get away from Graham Horne. Now a TT. Oh, what a pass. Ryan Hall. Was he in touch? He was.
You've got to be so aware if you're a defender when you've got Ali Lautiti out in the field, because he's liable to try anything, and he really did there.
But let's compliment Hull. They're not putting any white flags up. They're still defending strong, and Mike Burnett, the number 22 for Hull, is on the pitch. I've often thought he reminds me of a young Jamie Peacock, and we're trying to figure out how the whole pack is going to shuffle around. I think you might see Mike Burnett playing that front row role, taking that hit up.
This, meanwhile, is Graham Horne.
Eddie, there are a lot of tough jobs in life, but I don't think there's a tougher job than what Graham Horne has tonight. He's playing centre against Keith Senior. Ali Lautiti operates on that side of the field, and he's been asked to do so much. It's a tough ask for number 17 for Hull.
This, meanwhile, is Mike Burnett, who plays the ball. It's now Radford. Radford, a short ball. Burgess is there, Peacock is there. There is Graham Horne. That was Thomas Lee. This is Berrigan.
That's going to be forward, surely. Said he was knocked back. Well, to me, that appeared to be sent to a Hull player in front. Got away with it. Really lost possession there as well.
Here they come, Hull in the shape of Foreman. Cut down now by the tackle from Badiris. Wants to get on with it quickly, Foreman. Manu to Thomas Lee. Slides the kick in, Thomas Lee. Just a touch too deep. Richard Whiting was hunting. Well, I tell you what, Richard Agar has not gone against his principles, has he? You know, that was okay as it turned out.
Yeah, from a different angle, it's amazing, isn't it?
But he hasn't told Hull just to, you know, to try and shut it down and try and contain Leeds. He's actually, despite the scoreline against him, he's trying to take the game to the champions.
Well, he knows that they've got to get points on the board. Something to lift them at half-time, something he can point up to and say, hey, you know, you're playing against the champions, and we've come back. We've conceded a few tries, but we have the ability to do that. And there's only one way you can do it, and that's risk it. Risk your arm a little bit, and that's what they're doing. But this is their biggest problem. They don't seem to be able to stop the juggernauts getting into a good position, and that's a good offload.
And they can't lock up the ball as well, Steve. Well, that's the 10th offload for Leeds now.
Oh, a little step out of the challenge by Burrow. Sinfield is with him. Sinfield tries to skirt around, and Sinfield goes over for the next Leeds try. Sinfield had so much space, he elected to come out wide. Maybe he wants to give us an exhibition in goal kicking as well. You'd thought he might have gone actually over under the posts, but he was looking for the wingers, he was looking for his centres, and in the end he had to take it on himself. And Kevin Sinfield comes up with the latest Leeds try. He's been loose forward for the past two, 3 at standoff prior to that. Doesn't seem to matter where you play him, whether you put a 13 position against him or the number 6. He's always up to the task, is the Leeds captain.
Well, Leeds quite happy to give it to the big fella. Burgess said, OK, we'll get it away. Was not called held by the official. Flipped up. Beep, beep, says I'm off on my own. You've got to get him. Now watch this. No, you have not gone into slow motion. But Sinfield has, and then all of a sudden gets into top gear, and he knows he's got the legs. So is this fella. Beep, beep, is away. Back on the inside. Where's he going? I'm going for the try. He's having a smart game. He's a smart player, a great player.
Well, Hull had it tough at Wakefield a couple of weeks ago. They were 23-0 down at half-time. This is their worst 40 minutes of the season so far, and Sinfield is absolutely deadly with the boot. Left, right and centre, doesn't matter for this fella. He knocks them over for fun. 30 points to 6, Leeds are running riot. They're breathing down the Saints' necks.
But when you've got Burrow like that, well, maybe... Well, I thought for one moment perhaps Sinfield thought that the referee was in the way, but when you see it from that angle, he didn't even look towards the man with the whistle. I think he was just thinking to himself, look, there's got to be somebody outside me with faster legs than I. And he said, no, I'll go for it.
You know, you have to have a degree of sympathy for Lee Radford, the number 11 for Hull, who missed the tackle there on Rob Burrow. He's actually been the top tackler for Hull in this game so far. Consistently one of the best defenders, and yet maybe the fatigue element set through. And Burrow, with amazing strength, I mean, he's so dynamic for such a small guy, and bounced through the tackle of Radford to set up Sinfield.
There's Diskin. It's now with Senior again. It's fantastic, isn't it? When you look at that Leeds bench, they've got Burrow and the likes of him out there. They've got Lauatiti, Diskin, Burgess, and they've blooded another youngster here this afternoon in Mike Ratu. And he has been getting some great rave notices in the reserve grade. And no doubt we will see him at some stage. Ratu, he made his Super League debut against Salford way back in 2007. He was on loan at Halifax in 2008.
Oh, it's a smart kick.
Well
what a
claimed.
great take.
Very well claimed by Whiting, and he sets Gareth Rayner away. Rayner gets as far as Senior, and the crowd on the far side didn't like the challenge from Senior.
It was great work by Whiting, wasn't it? Leaped high, and the offload was so... That was high. Senior should have been penalised. The crowd know it. Man with the whistle. Whether they didn't see it or not, or ignored it, that's to debate later. Good pass.
Great ball to Yeaman. Whiting's with him. Yeaman is taking on Lee Smith for pace. Flicks it back to Jody Broughton. Jody Broughton, oh! Well, everything is going against them.
They bombed it. And he knows it, does Richard Agard. He cannot believe it.
Still not finished. They're still not finished. Tickle will come up the middle. Burgess. Tickle will score. Beats through Burgess and Danny Tickle. It looked as though Richard Agard's men had blown it when Broughton took the fall. But they just flooded up in numbers. They had so many out wide down the right-hand side. And in the end, they got over in the shape of Danny Tickle. They're making life hard and difficult for themselves, though, aren't they?
Well, it's a try feast, that's for sure. Beautiful short ball that put Yeaman through the gap and raced away, and it looked for one moment that they'd absolutely just ruined it. Willie Manu, the delayed pass was outstanding. And then Broughton just fell over his own feet. They were turning Lee Smith inside, outside, all together. And for the very first time, they had the numbers out wide. And this was slick play. Not the best defence, especially from the start, from the substitute Ali Lauatiti. He won't care. Danny Tickle has given the black and whites some hope to go into the dressing room at half-time.
Well, he's kicked 1 from 1. He converted Berrigan's try in the 11th minute. Since then, though, we've had 3 converted tries from the Leeds Rhinos. It's 30 points to 10 at this moment. This kick for 30 points to 12. Tickle doesn't miss those. 30 points to 12 it is.
Hull didn't have a player in the England squad that went to Paris just a couple of weeks ago. Danny Tickle is perhaps the best hope of somebody representing England at the end of the year in the Four Nations. He has been a strong performer for them. His goal kicking is an extra asset that he would bring to the squad. And again, with a finish like that, it's just maybe at times his defence and 1 or 2 of the tackles that he misses will be the area that I think that the England selectors will be looking at.
Yeah, it was strange that they didn't choose anybody from Hull, wasn't it? Another one who is getting rave notices in this part of the world, Phil, is Kirk Yeaman. He's having a great season as well.
Kirk Yeaman's a fantastic player. He's very good at taking that short pass, and the break that he makes there, it's unfortunate for young Jody Broughton. He reminded me of a time when Martin O'Fire turned Gary Mercer inside out in the 80s and just tripped over his own feet. It would have been a glorious try for him to score against his hometown club.
Tickle was looking then to offload the ball again under pressure from Luke Burgess. This is Thorman. Here's Willie Manu. I tell you what, if you like seeing tries, you've come to the right place this afternoon, because Leeds have been scoring for fun, and Hull look in the mood to have a bash as well. 5 tries to 2. We've seen 7 in the first half, and there's still a couple of minutes left. We might get another one yet.
And they've been rewarded, haven't they, Hull? Because they've wanted to keep the ball alive, as we mentioned before. They didn't want to close up shop.
That went straight up in the air, and oh, dear me, Lautiti should have gone for that. Here is Graham Horn, Rayner down the line, and it only trickles its way over the touchline. But Ali Lautiti wasn't interested in that high midfield bomb from Chris Thorman. It really was an old-fashioned up and under. This went straight up in the air.
To be fair to the big fella, is not noted for catching the football, and yet he can carry the ball around with one hand as though he's got a peanut in his palm.
Rayner just tried to slide the kick down the touchline, and did, but it just bounced the wrong way and went out of the field of play. That's why Leeds have this scrum, and we're a minute and a half away from half-time. Remember, there's no Brent Webb for the Rhinos. There is no Danny Maguire for the Rhinos. Doesn't seem to matter, does it?
No, I think any team that plays against Leeds in the next few weeks, Eddie, will have to keep them scoreless in the first 10 minutes to give themselves a chance. Hull still desperate here to have one more chance of attacking before the half-time out. A forward pass there from Lee Smith onto Jamie Jones-Buchanan. And with just over a minute to go, should be 6 passes. Well, it's almost a flat pass. The touch judges indicated it went forward. Now then, I hold that dangerous from a scrum.
Well, they need a little bit of luck, and maybe they got it there. They have a minute exactly, and the referee is angering. Now he stopped the clock, but he is angering the whole crowd by not allowing them to get on with it. Time back on. Here is Thorman, gives it to Berrigan. Berrigan not the best pass. Lost a bit of ground there, but it's now with Rayner. Woo, and Rayner just palms it into the arms of Graham Horn. Try here, will be interesting second half.
Well, it certainly lifts the spirits.
Thomas Lee. On the charge comes Big Sam Moa. 30 seconds remaining.
Got plenty of tackles in the bag. Got to keep it alive. Don't kick early.
Here's Thorman. This is Whiting. That's Yeaman, and he's passed into touch. And great celebrations amongst the Leeds players for the defence of Scott Donald here.
Put his body on the line there. It was deemed not to have touched the football, and if he did, he was involved in the tackle, in the action. But fair play to the home side.
I think they're all waiting for the half-time siren, and there it is. And Richard Agard disappears into the tunnel to begin the preparations for his half-time talk. And the Hull supporters will reflect on a blistering start for the Rhinos, where they went 12-0 up after 8 minutes. Hull got a little bit of hope with Berrigan's try that was converted by Danny Tickle, but